I have the distinct pleasure of sitting down here with two of my colleagues who are both performing with me in the upcoming Dancing with the Stars Capital Region show with Giuliana Bruno of News10 ABC and Casey Bortnick of Spectrum News. Giuliana, Casey, thanks so much for sitting down with me.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A pleasure.
You know, a lot of folks know you from TV, but they may not necessarily know more of your real origin stories. And I know you grew up in the Capital Region, Giuliana. So what was that like really for you growing up here?
It was great. I love the Capital Region. I went away to college in Boston for 3 years and knew that the goal was to get back here to work here, especially after interning at News 10 the summer before my last year of college. It kind of solidified that if I can get into this market straight out of college, you know, that's ideal, because I wanted to be near my family and also because I cared about the area. I grew up here. I knew a lot of the politics and issues that were important to people already because I had a personal stake in them. And so it's great to work here. And I think a lot of my friends that I grew up with have moved away and have gone to the city or have started lives elsewhere. But those of us that have found ourselves back here are happy, are thriving, and I think we don't give enough credit to the beauty that surrounds us here in the Capital Region. I think there's a lot of community to be found and a lot of fun to have if you know where to look.
Well, speaking of beauty, you have a beautiful new ring on your finger.
Show it off. Let's see it.
Just came back from Italy, freshly engaged.
See that?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, how does it feel to be engaged now?
It feels nice. It's been so great to hear from people and to receive congratulations. The outpouring is kind of overwhelming. My amazing fiance Griffin and I met at News 10, and he's the sports director there. So, you know, another thing to be grateful for at my job and just, you know, bringing us together in that way. I think my life isn't going to change that much right now. We already spent a lot of time together, and it's just, you know, the ring and the label for now, but I'm excited to take the next step and just feeling really grateful that I have someone in my life who supports me the way that he does.
Well, it's an exciting new chapter for you. And talking about sports, Casey, I know you were a big-time athlete growing up in high school.
I don't know if I'd say big time,
Well,
but I was an athlete, yes.
Well, I have by my notes, you were a first-team all-star quarterback.
I was in high school, yes.
Yeah.
Section 7 up in the North Country, Ausable Valley Patriots. So yeah, I was a first-team quarterback in my junior year, and it was something that I did when I was young. Football was something that I loved. It's still something that I still love, a big part of my life. And I think it taught me a lot about discipline, time management. I think football does a lot, and sports in general, I think, does a lot for people, or anything that you get involved in when you're younger can kind of teach you how to manage your time, how to dedicate your efforts towards something and work towards a goal. And it's something I was lucky enough to play in high school, lucky enough to play at 2 colleges. So it was a big part of my life. It's something that I'm very grateful for, and I think kind of set me up for success later on.
Yeah. Now, you stayed in New York for college.
Yes.
SUNY Brockport.
So I went to 2 schools. SUNY Morrisville was the first school I went to, and the only reason I went there was to play football. I took a journalism class through there. I wanted to be a sportscaster originally, like Giuliana's fiance, future husband does. Guess I wasn't that good at it. I moved into news from there, and 22 years later, I'm sitting right here talking to you.
Yeah. Well, it's great to be with you both. And I actually thought at one point of pursuing broadcast journalism. I had this idea of like being, I don't know, like a Bob Costas type journalist, but transitioned into other things. But in terms of thinking about, you know, your journeys in journalism, I mean, you've been at it now for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
You've been at it for not quite as long, but, you know, still a healthy amount of time. What are some of the biggest things you've learned just about approaching the communities you cover?
Whew, you know, that's a really good question. I think luckily for me, I've spent my entire life in upstate New York. So from the North Country to central New York, then as you mentioned, SUNY Brockport after SUNY Morrisville out in western New York. And my first job was in Jamestown, which is a very small community, from Jamestown to Rochester to Buffalo, now to Albany. I think every upstate community is unique, but they're also similar. in a lot of ways. And I think what's important to somebody in upstate New York is kind of important across the board. And you get to know people, you get to understand people, that they're unique in their communities, but there's also a lot of similarity. And I love upstate New York and these communities here. And you can find something great and unique about every market that I've worked in. But if you can understand what's important to somebody in Buffalo, for the most part, it's important to somebody in the North Country and central New York as well. New York City is another animal. I don't pretend to know much about what makes people in New York City tick. I think it's great. I love going to visit there. I think it's awesome. My family's from Long Island, so I think that part of the state is interesting, but I certainly don't understand it the way that I do upstate New York. So I think over the years, just understanding that people are what makes the news. And I think when you tell somebody's story, if you tell a story from a personal angle, if you make people care about the person, they're going to care about the story. And I think that's the biggest piece of advice I could give to anybody who's telling a story in journalism. And if you can write and tell a story in a way that helps you connect to the person, you're going to connect to the story.
I would agree.
That's simple.
Yeah, the most powerful stories that we tell are often someone's personal either struggle or triumph.
Mm-hmm.
You're either talking to someone on the worst day of their life or the best day of their life, and there's something that everyone else can relate to in that, whether it's grief, excitement, we get to kind of experience a range of human emotions from the other side. And it's just one of the many things that I love about the job is that every day is different. You meet new people, and those are the stories that Casey was talking about, where it's you get people to care about a person and they start to understand the issue, or maybe a perspective that they hadn't considered before. And I think that's something that local news is so crucial for telling those stories. I think there's a narrative about media and about news as an industry and as a machine, but when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of what we do in our communities, it's easy to understand why it's so important, and why it's a service that we do to the community that I don't think is ever going to go away. Although technology changes and although the way people consume it changes, there have to be people on the ground in neighborhoods, in communities, in wards, in counties that listen to the average everyday person and what is important to them and what needs to be done to make everybody's lives as happy and fulfilled as possible. And I think we play a very small part, but a very important part in that.
Well, for both of you, is there a particular story or stories that come to mind that are really impactful that you've had the chance to cover over the years?
Well, that's really hard to say because I've done a lot of stories. I think the stories that really stick out to me, I had an opportunity to be a health reporter for a short period of time in my journalistic life. And through that, I was able to tell stories a lot about people dealing with illness, a lot of times children dealing with illness, some who triumphed, some who didn't make it, and learning how to tell those stories in a way that that still gets me now when I think about it, because there's kids that I think about whose stories I told who aren't here anymore. And you try to keep some sort of, I guess, professional wall sometimes telling these stories. But when it comes to children, it's hard for me because I've told a lot of stories about people who have dealt with things in life or are no longer here. But I think to myself, well, they had a life. They had time on this planet to leave a mark. And sometimes when I tell these stories about children, I look back and I remember, boy, they didn't even have a chance. Someone who was 6 who had brain cancer. Those were hard stories to tell, but I think through being able to put myself in the family's shoes and tell that story in a way that made their short time on this planet impactful, I think I'm proud of those moments. I covered a 6-month-long manhunt out in Western New York, which was my first big story. It was the Bucky Phillips escape from prison and the long manhunt that followed that. And in a lot of ways, I'm still associated with that story from people that I encountered who still remember me from covering that story on the ground. Jamestown was the closest place to where that manhunt was going on, and it was the only station in town. So the Buffalo stations were coming down to cover, and a lot of the affiliates were calling me to ask, okay, where do I go here? What do you know about this? That's a story that I will never forget. The plane crash in Clarence Center where 50 people died. Going up to that scene and remembering that scene and the smell of that scene. Those are things that you remember and you don't forget, that leave a mark on you. And it's years go by and somebody will ask you about it and you'll think about it, or an anniversary will come up to mark those occasions and it just comes right back. So it's like, it never leaves you. These stories, I think I said this in a promo, so it's kind of lame, but these stories never leave you. Like I think as a journalist, the best advice I would have for people is let the story in. Let it in, feel it. Feel what someone else is going through, and don't let yourself linger there forever, but let it in and feel it. Write it, step away from it, come back to it, and just put it on paper. Well, not paper anymore. It was paper when I first started. Put it in the computer, write it, and voice it, see how it comes out, and come back to it. But if you don't let these feelings and these emotions in from these scenes, I don't think you're doing these stories and the people's stories you're telling justice. And I guess that's the best advice I could give, or the best way I could describe it.
It's very yogi-like the way you're describing it.
Is it? Am I going too far with this?
No, I love it. It's like the idea of noticing the feeling. You don't have to let it overpower you, but you can notice it and recognize what you're experiencing, but still try to have a level of not necessarily stoic control, but just control over your own emotions in that situation.
Well, I try to bring other people in to say, am I too close to this?
Right.
I'll let somebody else, some of my colleagues, kind of look it over. Luckily, we have a lot of journalists in my newsroom who have been doing this for a long time, and I'll bring them and say, hey, am I too close to this story? And they'll be honest. And I think that's an important part of it too.
Well, you can't let yourself get desensitized, because then you aren't telling the story the way that it deserves to be told. So it's finding the balance between compartmentalizing the things that you're seeing, hearing, describing. And like you said, feel it, let it in, but then, you have to be able to move on so that the next people that need your help and need their story told get afforded the same bandwidth, that you are able to give to something. Recently, I covered a fatal fire in Colony, actually not far from where we're recording right now, on I think it's Locust Park. There was a fatal house fire, and several people died. A couple were injured, and that morning I was kind of on scene as things were unfolding, and interviewing the fire chief about it. And I've interviewed him several times before, but I had never seen him so visibly upset and shaken by what he saw and what his firefighters had to endure while in that house trying to rescue the people inside, that I started to feel almost a little panicky, or a little bit like, what am I doing here? Why am I here right now? This awful thing is happening. And, it's one thing to go to a press conference afterward, but to be there while it's unfolding, it was all very surreal. And I had kind of gotten into covering lighter and more featurey stories. And then this story happened. And I, for the first time, really had a hard time when I got home that night, because I felt kind of guilty that I was there when this horrible thing was happening. But I also felt a level of responsibility to let people know what happened and why it happened the way that it did, so that they could protect themselves and people they know from going through a similar tragedy. And it was ultimately one of my best days performance-wise. My live shots were concise. I felt like I gave it all that I had, because I was emotionally invested in a sense, because I understood the severity of it. But I did have to decompress after, talk with my dad. My dad was in law enforcement. He's seen a lot of things. And so he was able to talk it through with me. And then he suggested, hey, like, next time you see that fire chief, tell him, that was a rough day. What did you think? And, and I did. And we talked about it with each other. And so I think in a lot of careers, whether you're a first responder, whether you're a journalist, whether you find yourself in scenarios where the average person is not just randomly there. They have no connection to this bad thing that's happening. So you have to figure out and remind yourself why it's important that I'm here. You know, I'm not here because I'm being invasive. I'm here because I'm doing a public service. And, you know, it makes the happy stories that you get to do even sweeter when they come along because, you know, again, that wide range of human emotions we get to see other people experience. It's a blessing, but it's also
challenge.
A challenge. You have to check in on yourself.
Can I say one thing about this? Because you brought up the crux of what makes this job difficult. You just laid it out right there. And while we're on the subject, this job comes with a lot of benefits. There's a lot of things we get to do that other people don't get to do. It's cool. It's cool to do this job, for lack of a better word. But it also comes with the other side of it. And you just mentioned that. And I think having to be at these scenes where you have to put a mic in someone's face and try to talk to them after the worst thing has happened is tough. And it's hard to sometimes reconcile why we have to do that. But what you have to remember, there's a couple of things about it. And I don't want to sound like I'm justifying having to always do that. It's hard and it stinks. But there are times when you have to remember that you are giving a loved one or someone who's grieving an opportunity to get it out. And sometimes that's cathartic for people to do that. Also, this is an opportunity for them to tell their loved one's story in their own way, and you're giving them an opportunity. And this is also an opportunity because people want to know. People want to know who this person was who died, who this person was that this thing happened to. The viewers want to know, and they can't ask those questions. They're not there, and we are. So you have to be able to do that. You have to do it respectfully. You have to do it in a way that's understanding, but this is the part of the job that's not so glamorous, right? What Giuliana was talking about. And we're people, we take that home with us. But at the end of the day, you have to remember, we have this great part of a job and we have these opportunities other people don't have, but it comes with this responsibility on the other side of it. And the way you just told that, I have been there and I felt that and I get it. And so many of us who do this get it. And yeah, you have to be when you're a general assignment reporter, you have to do a little bit of everything, right? I mean, sometimes I say you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. Who knows what assignment you're going to get? And it's been a while since I've been a reporter out in the field sent to do those things, but I was sent to those neighborhoods, and I was sent to those fires, and I was sent to those shooting scenes, and I was the person they would send to knock on the door. And that comes with a lot of responsibility, and it was hard to do, and I'm glad I did it for so many years. And it's hard, but to be asked to go out and do it, it would take a breath, and I'd have to work myself up to go and do it because it's hard to do that. Who wants to do that?
But it's important. It's important, and it's an honor knowing that we've been entrusted with that responsibility, and it just motivates you to do the best job possible. This is someone else's life that you're dealing with, and that's in front of you. And it almost it's easy to do right by someone when they're right there in front of you. You want to do the right thing, and that's how I know I'm in the right field, because what I'm doing, while difficult, while it can be stressful, the decision is right there for me to make, and I know what to do. So
yeah, and I love that you brought up the topic of performance, and I definitely want to get into that, both with fitness and with Dancing with the Stars with both of you. But I'm curious, you brought up kind of self-analyzing your work on camera and talking about your live shots were concise. How do both of you evaluate your own performance, and how have you done that over your whole careers and pushing yourself to keep getting better at what you do?
I used to overdo it. I'm going to be honest with you. I used to watch every little thing that I did. I used to try to tweak this, try to tweak that. I think the biggest thing when I got into this business is I wanted to be Tom Brokaw. And there's only one Tom Brokaw. And it wasn't until I started to finally just be myself that I think I started to improve and get better. We all have an idea of what a journalist and a reporter and an anchor should be, what they should look like, what we grow up emulating. But the truth is, if you are not yourself, if you are not authentic, it's going to come across on TV. Yeah, there's little things you can do. You can tighten this up. You can talk about what's behind you, bring people into the scene. You can do all those things, and you can work on that, and you can overwork on that, and you can drive yourself crazy doing that. And that's what I did for a long time. But it wasn't until I kind of loosened up on myself. It's just like, all right, you know what? It's okay to laugh. It's okay to laugh at your co-anchor. It's okay to flub something up and make a joke out of it. It's okay to be yourself and not be a news robot. As soon as I learned that, I think that's when I started to have a lot more success.
I love Inside the NBA on TNT, which is now, I guess, going to be on ESPN. And I guess Shaq, when he first joined the show, he wanted to be like Bryant Gumbel and like very, very serious. And it wasn't until he let himself be himself that he really fit in with the other guys. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, that was the key for me. Yeah. What you mentioned about the live shots, tighten things up. Yeah, we worked on that. We did a lot of that, but it's just a matter of if someone can watch you and they can relate to you. I think that's as simple as it is. And I think that's why you're successful. I think people watch you and they like you because you are the same person that you run next to at OTF that you are on TV. And I think people appreciate that.
It also makes the job easier to just walk in and be you. It makes it just an extension of yourself where you don't feel like you have to put on a mask when you walk in and take it off when you walk out. I think when I became the weekend morning anchor, that's when I really found that part of me, because a lot of what I was doing when I was doing general assignment reporting Monday through Friday was the stuff we were talking about.
Serious.
Different scenes, very serious things, which were very important in my career. But when I got to kind of have my own show and bring my own personality into it, that's when my shoulders kind of came down a little bit and I was able to relax and really enjoy the side of it where I got to have banter with a meteorologist and I got to welcome everyone to the show and feel like I was in their home with them as they were having their coffee. Like that's always how I try to make it feel. Now Monday through Friday, I'm doing a little bit of traffic reporting and then I anchor the 9. And it's a great feeling to just be myself with my colleagues who are actually my friends. I think we project that dynamic pretty well. I will say that much like what you said about doing too much in the beginning, I think we're all guilty of that. Like I look back at videos of myself from when I was doing like the college news station and I'm like doing a voice, like a news anchor voice.
Correct.
That I thought like, this is how news anchors talk. And I think, like, I don't know, who is that? But I think the goalposts just keep moving with you as you progress through your career. It's like, okay, that part's behind me. I'm done doing that. Maybe next I'll work a little bit more on, my delivery in traffic, because this is something that's newer to me. You just have to keep moving the goalposts along. And, I don't hate myself for these things that I thought I was doing correctly back then, but I acknowledge them and,
sure.
Hope nobody looks them up on YouTube.
I knew an anchor out in Buffalo at one of the affiliates out there, and she used to say that she had a 5-year plan. Like every 5 years, she would focus on doing something a little differently, maybe focus on a different aspect of journalism or her delivery or her performance that she hadn't focused on. So every 5 years, she would try to change it up and do something a little differently. And I think that idea of reinventing yourself every 5 years or so, I think that's why she's stayed so long and has been fresh so long, has been able to challenge herself for so long. And I think I think that would work for anyone in any line of work. Every so often reassess, where am I going? Where do I want to go? How am I doing this? Should I do this a little bit better? Should I focus on something a little different? I think it's important to kind of stay on your toes in every aspect of life to a degree.
Yeah. So Anchorman's one of my favorite journalism movies, but for obviously
quote unquote journalism.
Yeah, journalism. It's, Anchorman's a documentary, obviously. But in all seriousness, I'm curious. Like, are there any movies that are kind of journalism themed or TV news themed that you think really get it right, or ones that are just so ridiculous beyond Anchorman?
Okay, this is kind of, I don't know if I'm gonna say it, whatever. The Natural is one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
In a lot of ways, it's
Filmed in Buffalo.
Filmed in Buffalo. And that's what
Robert
is so
Redford.
kind of cool about it. Robert Duvall plays Max Mercy, who is the sports reporter in that movie. And there is this one scene where he's talking to Robert Redford, Roy Hobbs. And Roy had been injured. He's coming to play in this final game to try to get the Knights to win the division in this playoff game. And he walks up to Robert Redford. He looks at him. He's like, you want to hear what I think our chances are? He's like, oh, you read my mind. And he's like, well, that takes all of 5 seconds. And then Robert Duvall looks at him and says, you know what, Hobbs? They come and they go. They come and they go. But I'm going to be here a lot longer than you or anybody else who's standing in this room. And whether you're a hero or a goat, at the end of the day, you're going to make me a great story. And I was like, whoa. When that hit, I was like, wow. Like, that is true. Think of all of the people who cover sports. I mean, Bob Ryan, who was covering Larry Bird, is still covering Jason Tatum.
Yep, with the Globe.
I mean,
Boston
you know what I
Globe.
mean? It's just like, that is the truth.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're telling these people's stories. Now, they put it in a way that he's taking advantage of people like Robert Redford or Roy Hobbs in that movie. But the truth is, we do transcend what we're covering in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
Because
Stephen A. Smith's being talked about is running for president.
Correct. So that was just a line in a movie that I keep thinking of. And Kevin Carroll, who's a sports guy, who was my roommate in Jamestown, who's still now working for our upstate network. We joke every once in a while because he's a sports guy. So I always I always call him Max Mercy. He'll always laugh about that. Like, oh, you're Max Mercying Josh Allen right now.
Oh, that's good. That's so funny.
But that was the journalism movie that stuck out to me. I think there's a lot of unrealistic things.
Yeah.
I see
Totally.
in the movies.
One of the big shows out right now is The Morning Show on Apple TV. Now, I have to say, I only watched the first season and maybe a little bit of the second one. They lost the plot a little bit for me. Like, it was just, people are going to space, and I'm like, okay. But there are parts of that make me laugh. Like when Reese Witherspoon's character, she's like out reporting at some kind of protest, and she's just goes, okay, 3, 2, 1, and she just starts talking, and there's like a photographer, but there's like no live gear, but it's like she's doing a live report. Those kinds of small things
Little
that I'm
things.
like, wait. Like, technologically, how is this happening right now? Like, did she turn on her mic? Like, what's going on?
The anchor tossed to her. How did this happen?
And she's like going like this. I'm like, okay, so she has an IFB in, or no? I don't know. The other parts of that are funny is where, like, which maybe this does happen if you're on Good Morning America or something like that, but like the driver picks them up in the morning. Jennifer Aniston's character wakes up in the morning. She's a morning show anchor, right? So waking up in the middle of the night, as you do. Mm-hmm. Wakes up, drinks a Red Bull, runs on the treadmill, gets her coffee, goes in, does the thing. Listen.
They have time for that? Who has time to do all that?
I mean, I don't know. For me, it's like roll out of bed, stumble to the espresso machine, like, make it to work, and then take a nap after, and then maybe go to the gym. Like, I don't know.
Can we talk about morning news for a second here?
Sure.
So I had a brief time in the morning news. So I did the weekend show for when I first came here. When they moved me from Buffalo to here, they brought me in to be the weekend morning anchor. And we had three anchors on our show. We were trying something a little different. It was the first statewide show that we had done as far as a spectrum. And I would wake up at 2 a.m. And up until that time, I had never done morning. I was a night person. I would go into work at like 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon. So I'm waking up at 2 in the morning to go in, and I would have to I can't function until I have 2 cups of coffee. I know there's a lot of people that can just roll out of bed and do whatever, but I'm driving a car. I'm driving heavy machinery around. I feel like I should be awake before I just get on 787 and head into the station. So it was just having to do that, then showing up and just trying to bring some energy at 5 in the morning. It's all of the morning news people, because I'm back on nights now. I need to pay homage to all of you, because it's very difficult to have to wake up, live those hours. And then people always say, oh, well, you came in early, so you're done early. You have the whole day. But what they don't factor in is that you're exhausted.
Right.
I would come home after the shift hoping to I'm going to go out and get a drink later. And it's like you sit on the couch for 20 minutes and you fall asleep.
That's the key. You don't sit down.
I know.
Or you commit to it and you take the nap. And for me, sometimes that's like 3 hours. Like I will sometimes sleep 3 hours during the day and then maybe only 4 at night. And then it's all comes out a wash eventually. But if I'm tired, I'm going to sleep now. And then, you know, maybe I'll stay up a little bit later because I got that sleep in. I've moved away from having this like super stringent routine for myself. I think sometimes when you're too hard on yourself with good intentions, like, you know, I'm going to stay up after work and then get in bed at 7 p.m. and have a full night's sleep. And I'm going to wake up and I'm going to make a protein shake and I'm going to this and that. But then if things don't go that way, like let it go. That's how I'm trying to be right now. If I get home and the bed is just calling my name and it's like, Giuliana, that I'm going to just go. I'm just going to like let it take me and have my sweet dreams, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it.
But yet out of the three of us, you were the only one who made it to a workout this morning before this
That's
interview.
true.
That's true. It was a great one. It was a 3G.
You like the 3G better?
Sometimes, because I feel like it goes by a little bit quicker. It was also my first workout with the ring. So that also, like, I'm like.
Or people like just staring at you the whole time?
No.
Who was coaching you today?
It was Meredith. And she's the best.
So you were in Latham today then?
I was. I went to Latham.
You were in my home studio today.
It was like, I'm going to go to Latham and then I'm going to go back home and get ready really quick and be here on time. And it's going to be great.
Isn't Meredith the best?
She is the best.
I love Meredith.
She's one of the best coaches I think that we have going in the Capital Region.
No question.
So let me pull it back for a sec because the lingo that we're using, the 3G and some of the coaches, we're talking about Orangetheory Fitness or OTF. And Giuliana and Casey both are Orangetheory members. I have done a lot of workouts at Orangetheory as well. So for both of you, what have you really liked about those workouts in the community?
You start this time.
Okay. Well, what I love about it is I also grew up in sports. I played volleyball in high school and I was also a dancer. And so I always had like a routine of physical movement that was almost, I wasn't thinking about the fact that I was working out. It was just like built into things that I liked to do. And when I left college, because I was in a dance group in college. And then when I came home and didn't have anything like that anymore, it was tough for a while for me to, it wasn't even like I was lacking motivation, but I was lacking like a structure or a community of somewhere to look forward to going. So I was going by myself to Planet Fitness. It just wasn't, something that like set my soul on fire. Like it was like, I got to do this. So my friend Nicole, who used to work at Orangetheory, suggested that I try it, and I liked it immediately. And I've now gotten my dad to join, so he comes. And I just got bit by the bug. I love the way it makes me feel. I love the music. I've met a lot of really great people, and you know, I haven't had some insane physical transformation. That was never really the point. But more so, I feel good. I feel strong. I feel like I can set goals. I can set goals for different benchmarks that they do. And I can feel like I've accomplished something. I've done the dry try. I've done, you know, Hell Week and what was the transformation challenge I did at the beginning of the year. And just being able to prove to myself, you know, that I'm capable of this, especially in the midst of like this crazy, sometimes physically demanding job that I have. Physically demanding in the sense that what we were talking about with the hours.
Functioning.
That I'm still finding pockets of time to do something to better myself, my body, my health.
But there's also the pressure I'm sure you both feel to really look good at all times on camera. I mean, I know I've read some of your journey with like Invisalign and just like, and you were talking about teeth and all these things. No, I mean,
teeth.
No, you both have great. Obviously, you both
a lot of work.
Look great, but on the human level, I mean, I've had a lot of friends who work in journalism. That's just a very real thing.
It's hard.
So as you think through your fitness journeys too, like, do you have that in the back of your mind, kind of regularly as part of your motivation for showing up?
I don't know that it's part of my motivation for showing up, because I think for me, that would be a toxic way to go about it. I think that's like a slippery slope for a lot of people, and myself included. Just the attitude that I have that I mentioned earlier about, like, you know, setting strict rules for myself or strict schedule that I have to follow. That's not productive for me to lead like my happiest, best life. What I will say is that the pressure comes from the inside for sure, but it also comes from things that are out of my control, from whatever's trendy right now, whatever is, you know, the in body type, or there's so many other factors, and I'm always going to be me. So that's what I try to just, you know, I'm not going to go to Orangetheory a few times a week and magically have, you know, some kind of figure that was never meant for me to have. So I try to release that, but just be the most comfortable version of myself. And I also think it kind of being on television kind of awakens you to insecurities that maybe you didn't think that you had. Like, I'm 5'10". I'm a tall woman, and I've always been tall. And it was never something that was like a central part of my person. But it's one of the things where when I go out in public and people see me for the first time in the flesh, it's like the number one comment I get is, "Oh my God, like, I had no idea you were so tall. I had no idea." Like, okay, yeah, I guess maybe the scale of height on television, like, I guess maybe it doesn't translate. And I understand it's not a knock. It's not like a negative thing to say, but sometimes it goes a little further where it's like, you know, "Oh my God, you're so much thinner in person," or "Wow, like."
Yeah. I think they mean it as a compliment, but they don't realize how it comes
and
across.
then it's hard because you want to be kind in your response, because you know that it's not coming from a bad place, but it is one of those weird parts of the job where it's like, wow, people sometimes really just feel like they could just say that, you know?
Well, they feel like they know you.
Yeah, they feel like they know you.
I think they watch you every night, and and if you do a good job letting your personality come across like Giuliana does, I think they feel like you're in their living room and they know you. They feel like they know you, so they feel okay coming up and saying that to you. And in most cases, I think in most cases,
it's innocent.
They don't see it as being something negative. They just, they're just commenting. Oh, hey, you know, I'm just going to say this. And so I know you, so it's okay. I can say this.
Exactly. So I think that's why I make such a conscious effort to not blend, like, you know, what I look like on TV with why I'm taking care of myself. I'm taking care of myself because I want to live a long, healthy life. And because I care aesthetically about what I look like, but it's not because other people are looking at me. It's because I look at me every day. I look at myself in the mirror and I watch my videos back and I want to be happy.
Yeah.
So
I get that. I love OTF because being an ex-athlete, it is structured. And I like structure. And the older I get, the more I realize I gravitate towards structure. And OTF is a structured workout. You know what to expect for the most part, whether it's a 2G or a 3G, 2-group, 3-group format, which means treadmill, rower, and floor exercises, weights. I was doing CrossFit in Buffalo before the pandemic. So when the pandemic hit, it was kind of interesting in how you could still work out. And then I was trying to do workouts over Zoom from my apartment, and that was going nowhere. So I think I got a little bit out of shape during that time. But I think, like Giuliana said, I try to go 6 days a week. Now, that's a lot. I get that. And I think I would perform better if I didn't go as many times. But the real reason I go, and yes, aesthetics is part of it. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I like to look good. I like to and say, hey, I don't look like I'm out of shape or look like I'm heavy or something like that. That is something that I do think about. But the real reason is because mentally and for my routine, it puts me in a good place to work out 6 days a week. When I worked nights for all of those years, I got into very negative sleeping habits. So what happened was, when I first got into this business, is I would sleep in early till late morning, wake up, basically just wake up, get ready, go to work, come home, stay up till 3 in the morning. And then you feel like all you're doing is working and sleeping and watching a movie when you get home. And that was just not a routine that was making me very happy. And I was having a hard time sleeping in general because of that. What it does to wake up every day, go to class at 8:20 when you can. Maybe Sunday I go to a little bit of a later class, but you keep that routine and you'll be tired at night and you'll fall asleep at a decent hour and you'll wake up at the same time. That's just better for me, I've found. Through OTF, it's a community. like Giuliana mentioned. The coaches are wonderful there. The people you end up working out with every day in your class become your friends. And it's just a camaraderie that it's hard to explain unless you're in it. There a lot of friends that I've had that see, we post our stats on Instagram, on our stories, and they're like, what's this cult that you guys are in? I've heard this 100 times. People are like, what is this orange cult that you guys are in?
Just wait till you drink the orange Kool-Aid.
Yeah, right. Like, and then people actually try it. You get people to come in and try it, and then they're like, oh, I get it. I get what you were talking about. There's a competitiveness to it that I think encourages you to work harder and try harder. But it's an environment that I think what's unique about it is it's an environment that someone who's completely out of shape can come into and someone who's in shape can go into and still get something out of it. And it's like whether I'm running next to somebody who's power walking or I'm running next to somebody who's running hard and trying to either compete with me or getting close or exceeding me. At the end of the day, you're giving them a fist bump because all three of you tried your hardest. And that's really all that matters. And that's what I like about it.
So the question I get all the time from friends of mine who also do Orangetheory is, who are your favorite coaches?
Oh, that's
so
tough.
We
mentioned one already.
I figured I'd put you both on the spot. Shout out to Mike Altieri and the crew. So we'll have some fun with this part of the show.
It's like picking your favorite
Meredith.
children.
I know, it's hard.
Meredith is on the list.
Meredith's on the list. Ariana's on the list. I probably go to her classes. Ariana and Ryan Bayhill. I probably go to theirs the most frequently.
I love Ryan.
Between Latham and Albany, there's a lot of Ryan. Those are the two main studios I go to. And then Ariana is usually coaching at most of the times when I can go. And she's just phenomenal. She has great energy. Ryan has great energy. I would say that those and Meredith are the ones I go to the most. But recently I've gone to some Izzy classes in Albany. She's fantastic.
Izzy is an experience. So Izzy is out in Niski. She's the head coach out there. And if you go to her class, she is dancing the entire class, putting on. And she's not only coaching, she's putting on a performance the entire time. Yeah. So it's fun to go to her class and watch her.
Espresso.
Great energy. Dana
rocks.
I love Dana. And Coach Tara. So, and Tara is great at technique. Like on the floor, there's no form. Better coach. I don't feel. I mean, Chris Gross is probably up there with technique as well. Mike Dunn. I mean, the coaches. Like it's hard to pick a favorite coach because
is really hard.
I appreciate different things about all of them.
Sometimes you're in the mood for one coach's energy, over the other. Sometimes, I feel like I might need a little bit more attention or a little bit more of like a push. And Ariana specifically, she knows really well like my limits and my she knows when I can lift heavier than I'm actually doing. Like I just don't feel like it, and she puts me on the spot, and like I need that sometimes. There are other coaches who maybe I feel like they're less noticing if I'm taking it easy, so I'd rather go see them that day. But it's great. It's also great to have that variety, and there's no coach that I don't want to go see.
Yeah, right. I feel like Dana is the one who will notice if I'm slacking.
Yeah.
Like she's like the football coach that I had in every level of football. She'll be like, "Oh, are you going to participate in this challenge today, Casey?" Like she'll say that, or Casey, why aren't you in your base right now? And I'm like, well, we're just warming up. I don't want to run in my base yet. Ryan is great. It's like having like a college football teammate is Ryan when he's coaching. Ray at night, if you had Coach Ray, she is great. She's in Latham at nights during the week. She's awesome.
Oh wait, Ryan, is that her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan,
okay, I've had her before.
Yeah,
but
she's really
only,
good.
like, once or
You would
twice.
like her. So it's just like there's just something great about everybody there.
Yeah.
And like even the people at the front desk they're just so happy to see you when you come there, and you can tell it's genuine. And so that's what I love about it. I started in Albany, now I'm mostly in Latham, and I've taken classes in Niskayuna every once in a while. So it's a great environment, really.
Shout out to Jason, who works the front desk at Albany specifically. You guys know Jason?
Yes.
Yeah. So he so as I mentioned, my dad started going to Orangetheory as well. And when you're a newer member, and they'll like text you if you haven't been at class in a while, or they'll ask you like, hey, like, so
where are you? We
were in Italy, and my dad hadn't been in a while, I guess. So Jason texted him to say, hey, Tony, like, we haven't seen you in a while. Is there anything we could do to get you in the studio? And by the way, congratulations on Giuliana's engagement. And I just thought that was so nice.
Aw.
Like, it's just an example of, you know, they're people who you're encountering because you're going there because you're paying to work out here, but
Right.
they also get to know you and they care about your life. So that's nice.
And one more coach shout out because this is in my head this week. Allie P. Did anybody see the story on Channel
Yes.
13?
Yes.
Allie P saved
She
a life.
saved a life.
Yeah.
So
That was a great story.
not only is she great, I don't know if you've had her classes
Oh, I
before,
have.
but
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
awesome as a coach and just like an overall really
funny.
nice person, very funny person, and saving somebody and just acting like nothing about it. It's like, wow. I'm like, I didn't
Just
even
another
realize
day
this
for
happened
Allie.
until you see it on a story that somebody tagged her in.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
that's just who she is. It's like, wow, incredible.
Yeah, because I think she works as an athletic trainer. I want to say
Yep.
at the Darrow School.
Yep.
And she saved a life.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout out to her.
One of the players. I think
Great job, Allie.
Yeah, great job. One of the players was going through cardiac arrest, and then she started CPR, and thancefully she knew what she was doing and jumped right in.
Yeah.
Shout out Allie P.
Big fan of hers, but just overall, I love going there. I love being done with the workout.
Yes.
I don't know if it's so funny about working out, like and running. So people say, "Wow, you run a lot. You must love running." I'm like, "Oh, it's not really that fun."
Afterwards.
I like how it makes you feel. You feel accomplished when a challenge is over or something is over. But I don't know if I'm enjoying it in the moment. I'm just kind of like counting down to when this is going to be over.
Yeah.
How much energy you have left to push it at the end. But that's it.
Yeah. One of the things that I talk with people about is the difference between working out and training. And a lot of the times I think people would actually like their fitness journey more if they thought of themselves. They don't have to be like a hardcore athlete.
Yeah.
But there is a difference to me in training versus working out and thinking that you're progressively going to do certain exercises to get stronger. Now, you've both talked about how you don't want your fitness journey to be necessarily toxic and just about how you look on camera. But you talked about your mental health and just the good feeling of going there regularly. So Orangetheory has the app, which is great. It's the data nerd in me loves that. I'm sure you both do for different reasons. So when you go into the gym now and just look at the app or your past performances, signature workouts, what's your approach to your own training? Like going into like a quarter mile benchmark or something like that.
So I'm terrible at the rower. I'm trying to get better at that. But on the treadmill, I feel like I'm pretty good because I got long legs. So I feel like when I get tired at the end, everybody gets tired. Everybody can't push. And what you realize is when you have height, it gives you an advantage because when your legs are tired, you can just kind of leg it out and get through it at the very end. And that's what I do a lot. So I was able to get under a 6-minute mile this year, which was my last time, which was a big goal of mine. I wanted to do that. I got 5:59, so I got it. The quarter mile, the last time I did it, I was trying to get, it's kind of crazy, but I was like, you know what? If I can hold 15, theoretically, I could get a minute. If you can hold 15.
Oh, 15 miles an hour on the treadmill?
The whole way.
The whole way.
So, but what you have to do is you have to realize it takes a second for the treadmill to start going.
Which is, by the way, for those of you who don't go to Orangetheory, 15 miles an hour, I believe is still the top speed
is.
As
on
fast
the
as
treadmill.
it can go. And
Yeah.
it's very difficult. So I started it at 10. I wanted to see, you know what? I got 104 the last time I did it. So I'm like, I wonder if I can get 102 or maybe even get close. Let's see what I can do. So I started it at 10 for about 15 seconds and then I reset it and I held 15 and I was just running out. Like Ryan is yelling at me and I'm like, he's like, wow, 15. It got to about 57 seconds and I was just out of gas. And it's like, I had to like slow it down. I ended up luckily getting 102, but I just don't think I can get I don't know if I can get better than that. That's just insane. So, but it's like, you just like play games with yourself to try to be like, how fast can I go? How much more can I push it? I'm like, oh, I bet I got the best time. Then I look at it and somebody got 101. So I'm just like, you can never win. So it's somebody faster.
Yeah. Any favorites for you?
The rower. I love the rower.
You're really good at the rower. I remember she posted something. She blew me out of the water on this. I was the 200.
I remember that. We were in Albany.
I'm like, I messaged her. I'm like, how the heck did you do that?
You do not want to be near me on that rower. I ripped a foot plate off the other day in Latham, so that was fun. No, I love the rower. It was something I'd never done until I started going to Orangetheory. I'd never used the rower at the gym when I would go. I didn't know I had it in me, but it makes sense because I do feel like my lower body, my legs are probably my strongest muscle group. And I don't know, I'm very like power, I would say, is like, you know, they split things up into endurance, power, Strength. I would say
ESP.
I have a lot of power. Like I can push myself really hard for short periods of time. So those rower benchmarks, I love those. They light me up. Running, I like it. I can run fast. The only time I ever went 15 was when Coach Ethan Selby.
Ethan. Oh, I miss him.
He used to push me to run so fast. I didn't know I could run that fast. And I don't think I've done 15 since he stopped coaching there, because he would stand right there in case I needed him to like press the button and turn it off, because I was so afraid that like I would fly away. But yeah, I can run pretty fast too, but it doesn't bring me the joy that rowing brings. I have to say. Yeah, but I've taken a break from benchmarks. I just either don't really pay attention to it, or I like if there's a benchmark that day, I'll go to a strength or a tread class, because I started to plateau and it started really getting in my head.
Well, I feel like I've noticed they changed the templates up a lot because I think they want to challenge people. I just feel like it's been a little much with the benchmarks lately.
Yeah,
I'm going to
there's
be
a lot of
honest. Like there's just seems like it was nice to get a benchmark and just enjoy that you set a PR for a while and then not worry about it for a while. And it's just coming around again. It's like, all right, well, I've already PR'd, then this comes around again. And then you lose time the next time you're around and you feel defeated. It's like, okay, can we just slow it on the benchmarks? Just like pull back a little bit on the benchmarks. But
you're not going to tell me when I'm going to benchmark.
They're always around. And then you're like, well, do I skip it today because I don't really want to take this benchmark? And then you feel like you're defeated because of that. It's like,
for me, still have the comic book superhero idea of Avengers training. So I like to take the pieces from different fitness places that I really like the most and add them into my own training. So for me, Tread 50 was always the thing that made OTF more interesting to me, that no one else really offered. And you obviously get the running benefit, but just that coach-led running benefit of being able to really adjust your speed and think, okay, if I go 6.1 here or 7.2, just really get that methodical. Because I just know it made me a much better runner.
Yeah,
the way that they coach running.
Yeah, I do. The thing about, and I think you mentioned Coach Izzy before, but she always says that, inclines make you faster, and they do, but they are miserable. I can't stand inclines. It's like the worst experience. Like doing Everest, which is, for those people who don't know, it's you go up this incline that takes you all the way up the treadmill, and then you go all the way down, and you try to go as fast as you can the whole time. It is just 23 and a half minutes of hell, basically. It is not fun. It stinks, and you get through it, and it's like, when you're done with it, your legs are so tired. But they do. I think since I've done the inclines, I've gotten faster on the flat road challenges. But it's just, if you train properly, you can perform better. But I think, like Giuliana said, at some point you are just there for the other benefits. You're not necessarily there for the performance, because I'm not a professional athlete. So at the end of the day, whether I PR or not, it doesn't really change much, as long as like I walk out of there feeling good or my head is right, I guess. That's kind of the way I see it.
It does feel really good though. And I think this is one of the strengths of OTF as a product, is that they give you the tool to really see you doing better. There's plenty of fitness communities where you can judge your strength, progressive overload, all that. But to see that number, like for me, the feeling of doing a dry try and then doing another one and doing the strength dry try, that was so cool and such a great feeling.
I agree. That's something I wouldn't have done. I've never run a marathon or a half marathon or a 5K or a 10K. I've never done that. And I don't think I would have done a standardized physical fitness challenge if I hadn't gone to Orangetheory and heard the coaches talking about it. And I did feel really cool after the dry try. They gave me like a medal and I was like, yeah, this is sick. But yeah, I think it takes me out of my comfort zone, but at the same time, they're really training you for it all along. So then you show up and you're like, yeah, I got this. That's a good feeling. I like that.
And talking about comfort zones, we were talking a little bit off camera before we started recording of how dancing for you is not necessarily in your comfort zone.
Oh, it is not.
So all three of us are about to be in the 3rd annual Dancing with the Stars Capital Region edition. And so for you were talking about how dancing's very new to you.
Yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to talk about dancing, but before I forget, because I don't want to get any garbage about this, you mentioned Ethan.
Yeah.
Old coaches, love Ethan. Coach Amelia,
Uh-huh.
She
Oh,
came back to
yeah.
a class like recently, and I saw her, and it was like having a party because
She
she came
rocks.
back.
Yeah, shout out to Amelia for
I
a
wish
whole
I
host
wish
of
she would
reasons.
coach more, but she's got a lot of other things going on,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
get that. But just it's funny when you see people you haven't seen in a while, which is how you know it's a family and a community when they come back. I saw Amelia the other day just in passing, and I was like, just made me so happy just to see her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like,
Yeah, well, Amelia's
shout
a
out to
perfect.
her.
Yeah, and Amelia's a perfect segue to talk about Dancing with the Stars, anyways, just because of the Synato and
Right.
Ren,
Yep.
all. Yeah,
Yep, and that's
Yeah.
how I got roped into it. Gina approached me at an OTF class, and she walked up to me and she was like, "What do you think about doing this?" And my first thought when I was asked to take part in Dancing with the Stars was, "No way, I can't dance. Why would I do this? This is ridiculous." So I went to my boss because you have to get everything approved through your company. When it just like to even sit here today, I had to get this approved. And it takes a little while to go
Shout
through.
out
Yeah.
To work for letting us be here.
Thank you,
Yes,
Spectrum.
thank you,
News, for
Spectrum. Thank you,
allowing
News10.
us to be here today and approving this request.
Yeah.
But I thought about it, and they said yes, that I could do it. And I still didn't know if I wanted to do it because I'm not a dancer. Like, as you mentioned, I do have background in athletics, but playing football and running fast on a treadmill doesn't necessarily translate into dancing or Latin dancing, which I'm going to be taking on in this challenge. It was difficult, but I have written about this, so I'll just share it here. I went in 2024 was a tough year for me. I went through a breakup, was in a long relationship, a relationship I thought was going to last, and hoping forever. It didn't. It was a hit for me, and I was trying to find a way to reset and to kind of reinvent myself. And I thought about, well, maybe just say yes to this. Maybe get out of your comfort zone and try something different and be open to that. Maybe that will help you grow in some ways. Because I think you never stop growing. I'm a lot older than Giuliana, but I see how she takes on new things, and she's traveling and she's going through all these changes in her life and how she's approaching that. And I'm trying to do that too in different ways. Just because I'm older doesn't mean you don't go through changes and try to set yourself up for the next phase of your life. And I'm like, well, this is something new. This is something different. So instead of saying no, which was my initial reaction, why not say yes? So I've taken this on, and it's definitely been a challenge because I am not a dancer, but I've committed to it. And no matter what happens on November 1st, I tried. I tried really hard. No matter how this dance turns out, I'm going to give it my best.
Yeah. Well, you're also competing for, I know, a charity that is important to you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Guiding Eyes for the Blind. So as a lot of people know, one of the great loves of my life is my yellow lab, Remington. And I was trying to think of something not just for animals, because there's a lot of charities out there for animals. I wanted to think of something that was Labrador based, and Guiding Eyes for the Blind is a group that I had become familiar with out in Buffalo, and they train Labrador puppies and other puppies to become seeing eye dogs and to help people live life unlimited, basically. And these dogs are amazing. And anyone who's had any dog, let alone a Labrador, just knows how amazing dogs can be and what kind of companions they are. And I knew someone who was a puppy raiser, and they'd had raised these puppies and set them up for the next phase of their training. And to have to let them go just to watch them do that, I was like, wow, I don't know how you could do it. Because just after 3 days with Remi, I was attached, and I can't imagine my life without him. And my dog, it sounds crazy, when you're going through difficult times in your life, to wake up every day on days when you don't feel like smiling or you don't feel like getting up and being optimistic, and you wake up with a head on your chest and a smile and a tail wag, that's enough to get you out of bed. It's enough to make you smile every day. And that just goes a long way. And I don't think people who don't have dogs, because there are a lot of people who aren't dog people out there, I don't think they get it. And it's like, I know you might understand this term. They say if you want a friend in politics, get a dog.
Yes.
I think I've heard that term a lot of times.
Yes.
If you want a friend in anything, get a dog, I would say, any aspect of life, because they're amazing. And there's something about them that is uniquely bred to be our companions. And he's been a wonderful companion to me. I'm not ashamed to say he's got me through some difficult times in life. And I wanted to do something to honor him and kind of give back. And I thought this would be a great way to do it.
Yeah, I have another guest who I had on the show previously, and shout out to Kristen, whose dog they had to just put down their dog. And I hope she doesn't mind me talking about this, but she was putting out some really emotional posts about how their dog was such a critical piece for her to really manage very intense mental health and depression symptoms. And I appreciate you saying that and being vulnerable a little bit about that, because I don't think people realize that enough. You know, I don't own a dog or a cat, but I know News 10 with like Steve Caparizzo has been big within the animal community, and it's a real thing for people. Animals and humans can have these incredible relationships that are extremely impactful for mental health.
Yeah. Let me be clear. My dog could never be a seeing eye dog. I want to make he does not have the discipline, and I'm not very good at disciplining him. So it's really my fault. But I just believe he loves people, my dog. And if he was here right now, he'd be all over the two of you. It's just how he is, and he makes people happy. Yeah, he's a lot. He's like a bull in a china shop when you bring him into places. He just goes crazy. But you just see when I walk him down the street, people smile at him. You know, he'll pull me towards, because he wants to say hi to everybody. It's just, there's something about dogs that just make people happy. And if a dog can't make you happy, you are in dire straits. I gotta tell you, because
So
I was in a rough spot, and that dog made me happy every day. And I wouldn't be in the mental place I am now without my dog.
Yeah. But you have a little bit more of a dance background.
I do. Yeah. I was dancing from the age of 3. I started with ballet at Albany Berkshire Ballet. And then when I was maybe 10 or 11, no, I was way younger than that. Maybe like 7 years old. I started going to Barber School of Dance in Del Mar, where I started doing tap and jazz and ballet. So I was doing both dance schools for a while, and then
So what you're saying is you're a ringer in this competition.
Well, what I'm saying is I have the background, but it's been a while since I've danced for me. Like I was teaching at Barbara's for a few years. When I first moved back home for my job at News 10, I also took this part-time job at Barbara's, and I was teaching hip hop and jazz to like middle school, high school aged dancers. And it was so much fun, and I loved the kids, and the hours got tough for me because the dance classes were late at night, so I had to take a step back from that. I still help out and MC their recitals every year, but I was teaching at a level of middle and high school dancers, middle school and high school dancers. So I hadn't actually worked on my own technique or my own skills for a long time. But my partner, Corey Snide, he is incredible. I could not be more grateful to be working with him. I know you're working with his sister, Jenna. They're awesome people. And Corey immediately was able to pick up on where my skill level stood. And he has been pushing me a little bit, but I think it's all good. It's all going to come out, and it's all going to be magical. But I am right now feeling a little nervy. I'm feeling a little nervy, especially I was just away for a week, so we haven't rehearsed in a while. We're going to get back together next week and see where things stand. But I love dancing. It makes me so happy. It is so much fun to go there after work and just let loose. And it feels like I'm unlocking a part of myself that had just kind of been dormant for a few years. So
yeah, it feels timely that we're all doing this right now, because the national Dancing with the Stars just feels like it's just getting bigger and bigger every year.
It's such a talker this year.
Yeah, and I had to correct a few people, because I was flattered that people thought for a second that I was on the real Dancing with the Stars. I was like, no. To be clear, this is
you're
the
going to
Searle, Alec Lewis.
Yeah,
sure, yeah,
exactly, right. Same thing, but yeah, this is the Capital Region version of it. I have loved the rehearsal process too. It's been so fun. And yes,
you look like you're having fun.
Oh, it's so fun. I'm having a blast with it.
This guy's always having fun.
I know he is. I know. I love it. I love his videos.
I do my best. Well, because for me, like, you know enough about my weight loss journey. So for me, it just feels like I'm finally living in the body.
Can I say something about that? Because I see these old pictures of you, and you look like a completely different. I didn't know you until I came here, which is 2021.
Right. We met really working out at Orangetheory.
We met through OTF, and I just know you basically exactly the way that you look right now. So to read your journey, to hear about that, it's very impressive. I just want to compliment you on that. But
thank you.
It's really impressive, and keep doing what you're doing. You look great. I mean, I wouldn't have even recognized you.
Thank you. And and that's the truth. That a lot of it for me, I realized, like, if I'm doing my best to use my own story to bring people together like yourselves to kind of normalize the lifestyle of really prioritizing your fitness and your wellness, no matter what you're doing for your career. I mean, you two obviously have very kind of public facing careers and you're on camera all the time. So I'm sure there's natural reasons. And I appreciate you both kind of laying out the broader reasons why you're doing what you do, just to really just be better humans and take care of yourselves mentally, emotionally, all that. But yeah, the show is just so fun because Dancing with the Stars, for me growing up, was one of the only shows I could watch as a family.
Yeah, you were always into this show and everything else.
Yes.
So this is kind of like a dream.
It is a fun dream. Yeah,
it's cool.
Because I grew up doing theater. I grew up performing and playing sports. So Dancing with the Stars was one of those things I could watch with my dad and my mom and my sister. And so it's just fun to be able to have this opportunity, as I'm sure it is for both of you.
And I love that they've combined it, you know, with us supporting charities that are important to us, because I sometimes feel like I have this platform because of my public facing job, but my energy goes toward work when I'm Giuliana Bruno News 10. It's like that energy is going toward my work, which makes sense. But it's nice to be able to use my platform and the fact that I am public facing to do something philanthropic. You know, I have emceed numerous events for charities and helped out in that way, and used my affinity for public speaking to offer that service. But to be actually raising money myself feels really good. And I'm raising money for the National MS Society. My brother Anthony has MS, and he is really thriving in his life. And he is such a strong advocate for the work the MS Society does. So that's why I feel so comfortable helping that charity. He is such a well-read, well-researched person about his own illness and about the kinds of resources people like him need the most. And to be able to not only help the MS community, but my brother, who I love so much, who I've been so close with my whole life, that feels really special to me.
I loved the reel that you did with him playing Mario Kart.
I know.
That was so awesome. If you haven't seen this on Instagram, you got to go to Giuliana's Instagram and watch it.
Thank you. I was trying to think of a fun way to, you know, my brother and I don't know if brothers and sisters out there.
Is he older or younger?
He's older than I am. Just by a couple years. I don't know if siblings out there can relate to this, but a lot of times it's like my brother and I aren't going to sit down and have like a deep talk out of the blue just because we're feeling emotional. A lot of times these things happen and these conversations come up when you're doing the mundane brother sister things, which for us was always, we played video games a lot, we played with Legos, whatever. So I'm like, I was trying to think of a way to make this conversation more comfortable, you know, talking about MS and whatnot, but like putting us both in a scenario where it's like not weird that we're talking in front of a camera about something we've never talked about in front of a camera before. So we had a lot of fun with that. And he is just a really incredible person. He's, in addition to his full-time job where he works in technology, he also is a wedding DJ. So he's traveling on the weekends and putting on amazing shows for couples. And he's just a very busy person who still makes time to prioritize his health with his journey with MS. He joined Metabolic, so he's now working out too. He, you know, has his own house. He's just like, he's really thriving, and it just feels like the perfect time to shine a light on this part of his life and hopefully not only inspire people to donate and help out the cause, but I hope it also inspires people to look at people in their own lives that are right next to them. Like my brother, for example, he's been there all along and he has this amazing story to tell. I have a platform, so I'm going to amplify it with his blessing. You know, I asked him first, I'm like, you know, I'm going to raise money for the MS Society. Is it okay if I say that you're the reason for it? And he was like, I'm so down. Like he was really into it, and he's going to be there that night. A bunch of my family and my friends are all going to be there. And yeah, it's about the glitz and glamour of the night, but it's about him. Like, I want this to be as much his night as it is mine. So.
Are you the youngest?
I am.
Yeah. So am I. I'm the last of 5.
Oh, okay. So it's just me and him. So listen, do you have like a middle child dynamic in your family? I've always wondered with like.
So the middle child is my brother, who he's the middle child, and he was the person I looked up to the most in the family. I feel like because there's a 10-year age gap between my sister, the oldest, and I. And I felt like in a lot of ways he was the bridge between the older siblings and the younger siblings. So yeah, so that middle child, I feel like, is really that in any family. I believe this. When there's multiple siblings, the middle child is the glue that holds the family together. I strongly believe, because as the youngest, you can do whatever you want. It's wonderful. The oldest has all this responsibility on them. So yeah, if you're going to be in a spot in the family, I would pick the spot that I'm in every single time.
Yeah, I like being the younger one. I think it's an advantage to watch someone else navigate life before you get there. You know, I watched him go through middle school and high school just a couple of years ahead of me. And, you know, we were always going through similar things, but at the same time, he had that added wisdom. Yeah. He just always knew more than I did, and he still does.
Don't you look up to your siblings, though? I mean, it's like, in a lot of ways, they're your first role models in life. Your parents are your role models, but so are your siblings, because they are going through, and you're, in a lot of ways, you're following in their footsteps. So many of my teachers and coaches all knew me already because they had my brothers or my sister, and you shoot for the stars with them. Like, you try to be like them. You emulate everything they do, and you hope they're proud of you as much as you hope your parents are proud of you. And I've been so lucky to have great siblings. A next brother up from me lives in Cropseyville locally. So when I got moved here, I wasn't coming to nowhere. I had family here already. To have him here, it has been great. And I think it's funny to hear you describe this relationship about like playing games and having this talk. So the next brother up from me, we were the closest in age. So that is the way we would communicate. Yeah. We would play like basketball together, and we talk through there. We go golfing, and we'll randomly, that's when he'll ask me questions that he wants to ask me, is when we're on the golf course and we're playing. That's when he'll ask me a serious question that he's not just going to text me.
Right.
He wants to know it, and he's going to wait. And we were playing a game. So I think what you did there really kind of spoke to me. And my next brother up is good at all of these games. And it's so frustrating. He's good at darts. He's good at pool. He's good at any video game. He'll figure it out in about 5 seconds. Yeah. I'd play this video game for weeks to get good at it. And then I'd have him play. Like, oh, I'm going to beat him finally. And then he just figures it out in 2 seconds and is beating me. It's so
that's how I am in rehearsal. I think of the dance moves as like kind of Dance Revolution. So I want to nail it. I want to get it the first time. And so it's fun watching the videos I've done, and just like me, like yelling or screaming at myself. And Jenna, I think, just sits there being, why are you so hard on yourself? And I'm like, because I want to get it right. I want to nail this. Yeah. I want to own it. So it's just so fun to think like you're leveling up in the rehearsal process.
Yeah, it is fun. And it is also fun to allow yourself to mess up or try things that don't work. I say that it's fun, but I'm similar to you. Like, I do get mad at myself, but it is funny to see your partner's reactions to like, okay, you know, this is not like the real Dancing with the Stars. Like, you know, Corey's very good about bringing us back down to earth, and like, okay, we've only been here for 15 minutes. We still have, 45 more minutes. And, before I went away to Italy, we had like our last rehearsal. It was going to be our last rehearsal for like a week and a half. And he's like, I'm just going to throw a bunch of choreography at you so we can get like almost all of it done. Yeah. You don't have to have it perfect. You don't have to have it even like
just so you can have it
close
in your head,
to perfect.
Kinda, yeah.
But like, yeah, so you can have it in your head. We're going to take a video of it. And then, you know, he's like, you can forget about it for the whole week you're gone. Like, if you want to be watching the video and like practicing under the table and whatever, you can. But if you also want to not think about it and then come back and we'll see, that's also fine. I'm like, how is that also fine? Like, I trust him implicitly, but also like, are you sure? So I did that. I just kind of put it out of my mind. And it's going to be go time again very soon.
Yeah, we're in the final few weeks as
are.
as we're recording this, and if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, you've very few days to do it. The
There's a
show
wait list.
the show is like basically sold out now
Yeah.
with a wait list, but reach out to Capital Region Dancing with the Stars if you're looking for tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Joy Bernard is the professional that I'm with, J&R Dance Studio. She's great, but she expects a lot. And she picked a hard dance. I'm trying to learn it. I think I was talking to you off camera about this. She'll tell me when I do things that are not technically right. And she'll be like, it's Latin, as if that's going to mean anything to me. It's like, sure, I understand the concept of Latin, but how I move my feet or move my legs, that doesn't mean anything. You have to explain that. Like, she'll like, oh, it's Latin. No, you need
What
to
type
show
of Latin
me.
are you doing?
We're doing the samba.
Samba.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not easy.
No, it's not. That's not an easy one.
Listen, I am trying my best. We've been practicing a lot, 3 days a week for a while.
Yeah.
So we are trying hard, and we've got all the choreography in, and now we're kind of just sort of
Cleaning it up.
But the cleanup process is a lot harder than people think.
Yeah.
So now it's like the things that she was letting go, she's not letting go anymore. Like, you've been doing this wrong the whole time. I just haven't told you because I wanted to get through and show you what the concept of this thing is.
Yeah.
So now we're in that part of figuring it out, and now we're going to pick a costume, which is also going to be a big deal.
That's a big deal now,
I
too.
think she's hoping that my presence will distract people from the fact I can't dance. So I'm going to have to try to do that. So we'll see. I'll smile a lot, and hopefully people will ignore the fact that I don't know what I'm doing.
As long as we're having fun, that's the real goal. We all have to have fun. What style of dance are you doing?
It's a secret.
It's a secret.
Oh, you're not gonna say.
Yeah. I don't know. We just decided it would be fun to have this little element of surprise.
Okay.
I will say that like the song style is like a jazz standard.
Okay.
It's a song that many people probably know. But I'm not. That's where I'll leave it.
Okay.
I'll say that like there will be a like reveal aspect of the routine where, you know, you won't really know what we're doing until we're doing it.
Okay.
So
She's being mysterious about this
I'm being
right
mysterious, but it's going to be, the vibe of it is going to be very like Fred and Ginger, very classic, old timey, pin curls in the hair.
All right, well, if you didn't have enough reasons to be there physically in person, you got to go to see the live reveal.
Exactly.
Can I say one more thing about
Please.
this? And I want to bring up one of, I'm pretty sure is one of your mutual friends, and that's Jake over at OTF.
Yeah.
So I had told him that I was going to do this, and I consulted him about it. You've mentioned theater people. He's a theater.
Yep.
He's an ex-theater person too. And I was like, you know, he goes like, what's your biggest fear about this? I'm afraid that people are going to make fun of me. I'm like, I'm afraid that people are going to watch this and they're going to be like, look at that jerk. He doesn't know how to dance. Why did he even try this? This is stupid. And he promised me that people aren't going to make fun of me. He said, I promise you, no one's going to make fun of you. So Jake, if you're watching, if anyone makes fun of me, you need to do something about it.
Well, then Tony Howard did it last year too.
Yeah,
pretty
she did.
sure.
Yeah, she was great.
Another
I was
OTF
there.
coach.
She was excellent, and they had a really big OTF like group, big table, all there supporting her. She was fantastic. I think that you're selling yourself a little short, because I think having a physical fitness background and a sports background helps you more than maybe you're giving it credit for. I think you're automatically going to be connected to your body more than a person who doesn't exercise, who doesn't, you know, I also did theater growing up, and a lot of what we would talk about in rehearsals and in classes that I took were like, you know, connecting to your body and like remembering choreography a lot of times is like, they call it muscle memory, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of parts of working out are similar, like your form, that's something that you learn and you have to feel in order to know that you're doing it right. And I think choreography, you can think of it a little bit similarly. Although, yes, there was an added flair,
Yeah, there
pizzazz
is.
to it all.
Sure.
But, you know, the same way you have to really lock in to be able to deadlift properly, you have to lock in to be able to, like, you know, point your toes and or flex your foot if you're supposed to. So, yeah.
That makes sense, because there's the element of knowing the moves enough so that you can have the muscle memory to just do it.
Right.
Yeah, without thinking.
You still have to be present enough to actually feel what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You like, I think being connected to your body is like an underrated part of fitness. Like, I think knowing the ways that you move, like, I think the same choreography looks different on different people because we all have different bodies.
Sure.
We all feel things or interpret music differently. And like the same way that like me running on a treadmill is not going to look the same as the person next to me. So you just got to find your own style, find your own, like, the thing that, you know, makes you sparkle. Is that a real sentence?
No, I think it
said?
is. I think it is.
This is what I was afraid was going to happen to me.
What?
Was I would get podcast vomit mouth, where like I'm like,
well, doesn't that happen to all of us though? I mean, this
I
isn't
guess,
something
but
that you and I do
nobody
on a
ever
regular
lets
basis.
me talk this long.
Correct.
And I don't want to. You know what I mean? But here I am. No, it's not that I don't want to. See? It's happening.
You're doing great.
Oh,
I
God.
think.
No, it's all good. You're used to live, concise segments that
Right.
have
Where's
an
the
in, they have an
teleprompter?
out.
Give me the teleprompter. Usually there's a producer in my ear going, okay, enough.
Time to wrap
enough. You know, they'll,
And then you don't listen to them anyway, which I never do.
I don't either. Like,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
say what I want to say until the
they'll
words
give
come
me
out.
like a talker segment about like the new Taylor Swift album. And I'm like, okay, and you're gonna give me a time limit on that? You know who I am and what I bring to the table when it comes to these matters. So yeah.
Well, let me assist you with one thing, because I think one of the things that
Mm-hmm.
was surprising to me was, you know, all of us obviously work out, we prioritize our fitness, but dancing is a whole other level of cardio that
It's
a lot
different.
of people are not used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our routines are roughly all like a minute and a half, something in that
Yep.
ballpark for this. That was one of those like kind of wake up calls for me. I was like, because I've been kind of upping my cardio a little bit in my training just to make sure I can really perform well for the minute and a half. Have you like kind of noticed that
Cardio
for
basis,
yourself?
I will say that OTF sets you up well for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like from doing CrossFit in Buffalo to doing OTF it's more cardio.
Yeah.
I think that's some of the biggest complaints that people who aren't in OTF have, or they say, oh, it's too much cardio. It is a lot of cardio. It's other things too. And it's really up to you how much you focus on the cardio. I mean, you could go on the tread and just not give it your all and not go as hard and still do other things in class and get something out of that. But when I go on the tread, I give it my all. And when I've done that, since I've done that and I've taken these classes, I've noticed that I'm not really sweating that much going to the class, and we're doing a lot of stuff. So I do think it kind of puts you in, it's almost like basketball shape, if I could
Yeah.
put
that
it
makes
that way.
sense to me.
Basketball shape's different than football shape. Because
Yeah.
football, you call a play runs, you go back to the huddle, you can breathe for a second. And basketball, you're just up and down and up and down and up and down. So that was a different kind of shape you'd have to get into when I switched over seasons when I was in high school. But it feels more like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I am jealous that you're not sweating. I am. And it's like I don't even realize I'm working as hard as I am because I am so focused on the routine and also having so much fun. Then at the end of it, I'm like, wow, I think I actually might have gotten a couple of splats metaphorically
Yes.
just now during that rehearsal.
Take your heart monitor with you. Turn it
I
on.
should.
Yeah, you
know?
should. Yeah, you should
Turn it
test it
on?
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get splats.
Well,
in
and
class.
we're really big, Corey and I are really big on repetition and just doing one small part of it over and over and over again until I feel like, okay, now I can move on to the next thing. And so that's when I really start to build up a sweat, is just doing the same thing over and over again and not realizing it because I'm just focused on getting it right. And then I'm like, hey, yeah, that just brought my heart rate up.
Yeah, that's been similar for me with Jenna. We kind of doing like 30-second kind of segments of it. But just to wrap this up and thinking about, you know, kind of the show, you've talked a little bit, both of you, about kind of why you said yes to this opportunity. What are you ultimately hoping you can kind of get out of it or give to it through your performance in roughly 3 weeks' time?
I guess I'm just hoping that I can prove to myself and to other people that when you get knocked down, you can get back up. And it's okay when you get knocked down to stay down for a second and to come back. And I might not be great at this. People might laugh at me. I don't know how this is going to go. But I took on a challenge, and you can ask Joy, I tried my best. And I'm hoping people will see that I stepped outside of my comfort zone and did something, didn't just stay in my corner and do things I knew I was good at. I stepped outside of it. I gave this a try. And no matter how it goes, I hope people will look at it and say, well, you know what? Casey's willing to try something different and risk looking like a fool, maybe. He's willing to do that. And at the same time, raise money for a great cause and honor my boy. I guess that's what I hope comes out of it ultimately.
They're going to be calling you Comeback Casey. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I am excited to perform. So there's that component of it. Like I'm excited to see what that feels like again, because it was a high that I chased for like the majority of my life, dancing and doing musical theater and stuff. So it'll be fun to do that again. I'm excited to have so many of my friends and family in one place together, like all for the same reason that matters to all of us. So that'll be nice. And I'm also looking forward to seeing everybody else's routines. That is like gnawing at me in the back of my mind is like, what if Casey comes out and is like doing backflips and stuff?
That's not gonna
and I don't have a single backflip in my
this
routine.
is all just to work. All this nervousness is just to work.
He's like harping on it a little too much. It's like almost making me suspicious. No, but seriously, I'm excited to reconnect with everyone and kind of come full circle on this thing that we're all really in together. So that'll be fun.
It must be cool to be able to revisit a part of your life, though. It would be like if I got to go play football again, or even just coach football again, just be around it. I mean,
it is great. And
to see you talk about it, I feel like you're lighting up a little bit, which is kind of cool to be able to go back and do something that was such a big part of your life for so long.
It really is like bringing a joy into my life that it's not like I was missing it. But it's like maybe I can find a way to make room for this somewhere. I can't teach dance anymore. It was just the schedule is just too much with my work. But like, is there something else I can find to unlock and to nurture this part of me? I always think of the what ifs. Like, what if I went into a more performance based career, or what if this is kind of a nice way to have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I love that for both of you. And I think all three of us have the opportunity to entertain people.
Well, what do you want to happen?
For me,
let's put you on the spot.
I think for me, I just want to be able to feel connected to my dad. You know, my dad passed away after a pretty rapid health decline last year. And in his heart of hearts, he was a performer. Thank you. And, it's been hard dealing with that grief process and feeling like I'm doing things that he would have been really proud for me to do and to see feels like a way to honor that and kind of exercise in a real way that grief is love and that I can kind of work through this in part on the dance floor. And Jenna has been a big part of my own faith and fitness journey too, because we work out regularly together at Metabolic. We talked about that on this podcast. And so to do this with her is a really cool gift as well. So I'm and really thankful to Elena for the opportunity. So for all those reasons, and I just love to perform. It's in my DNA. So it's just a really nice opportunity to be able to do that and really feel privileged and honored to be doing it with you too as well.
Same with you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for asking us to do this too. This is great.
Yeah. I have to clear the air. I didn't know Casey was going to be here. You had mentioned.
Oh, sorry.
No. It was such a nice surprise because it like actually made me immediately feel more comfortable that I wasn't being interviewed solo. You had mentioned that you wanted to get us both
That's right.
on.
I think I didn't double confirm, but I mentioned there was a possibility.
But oh my gosh, wow,
here.
what a relief. Thank you.
Luckily,
you both.
we know each other, so this is good.
Well, I figured it would be fun to have the two of you together because I'm sure there's not many opportunities where you're both on camera talking about something together, and just to also really highlight, the great people in the community that are participating in this show, And I feel like the show is only getting bigger. I feel like at least through me, and I'm sure through you, you've had people kind of go, what is this? What is this? And I feel like the show in the years to come is probably going to get bigger and bigger, hopefully.
Having Gina on next week. So it should be exciting, and trying to give, I know you've done a couple of segments. We'll do more, and we'll try to put things out on social. Raising money is always difficult because I know that everybody out there has limited resources, but if you can go on and just support any of the three of us on here, we'd all appreciate it. For all of our charities, they're all great causes. So give what you can, if you can, even if it's $1, $2, $5, whatever you guys can give. We appreciate every penny.
And the charity that I'm competing for, just quickly, is New Yorkers Against Gun Violence. And I had a cousin who was killed in high school by a unknown intruder with a gun, and so that issue has been particularly important for me. So New Yorkers Against Gun Violence, it's more based in New York City, but they do really impactful work providing educational programming to kids in schools who are disproportionately impacted by gun violence. So unfortunately, there's many communities in the capital region that are designated as snug communities by the state. And I think a lot of people are seeing this violence or perceived violence escalate. And so, the hope is that some of these funds can go towards really helping their educators be in the schools where we're seeing a real impact in reducing gun violence by teaching kids how to actually resolve their conflicts peacefully rather than using a gun.
I think we have three great causes.
I do too.
We certainly do.
So when am I going to see you guys at OTF? Are we doing like a...
You want to do a class?
Yeah, let's go.
I think I got to come back to do a class. All three of us.
So Meredith, come on Monday morning. You can have Meredith 8:20.
I have to work, Casey.
That's true. You can't cut out early that day?
Yeah, you heard it on camera, Mike Altieri. We'll make it happen. The three of us doing a group OTF class.
Now, I don't know if either of you want to be next to me on the rower.
Oh no, I don't want to be next to you on the rower.
And I'm not even saying that
You're
because
so
I'm
good.
super good, but it's
You are good.
again because a foot plate flew off recently while I was on
How
there.
does that
It's
even
just-
happen?
I don't know, but
You were going so hard.
I was just holding it up, and Coach Ryan was like, "Yeah, you could just
I've never
maybe
seen
hop
that
onto
before.
another one."
I'll volunteer to sit next to you. I like working out next to people who are going just
right.
as hard or really intense.
Let's go.
Let's
go.
go.
Alex.
What's your
do it.
favorite studio?
Oh God, don't make me do that.
Well, I got to ask what my favorite coach was. That's hard.
Well, fine. What's your favorite studio?
Latham. It's closer to my house.
Latham is also closer to me, but
When I worked at night, when I worked in the morning, so I would go in at 9, I would get out early, then I would go to Albany because it's closer to my station. But when I wake up in the morning, Latham is easiest to go to.
Yeah. Well, what I like about Albany is that's where my dad goes. So that's where
you work out with your dad.
We work out together, but Latham is roomy. I'll give
Latham
it
has got
that.
more space. Absolutely. Albany is very cramped.
Yeah, but it's
And
also
you go
really
around the corner.
cozy.
You like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like a
Anyway.
little space. What about you, Alec? What's your favorite
I'm
OTF studio?
just laughing because this is exactly the conversation I know that all these OTF people have.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it which studio? Like,
Which studio's your favorite?
Which studio has better angles?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Saratoga studio is
I'm so
really
glad it gets
impressive.
Really nice.
Well, because it's the newer design.
Yeah.
We're really
It's more
nerding
wide
out.
open, right?
We are so nerding out on this, but I'm all in at this point.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Yeah, because it's more open. Because you don't feel that tightness. So the treadmills are really kind of in their own area, and then the rowers are really in their own space in the middle, and then you have the floor stuff. Clifton Park is a little tight.
Yeah.
It's a little tight. I have nothing against Clifton Park, but it feels a little tight sometimes. Latham is roomy. I think that's
Latham
a good
is roomy.
description
It's
for
roomy.
it.
That's why I like it. Yeah.
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 Although I was on station 13 today, which I thought was on the other end. Like, when you go to a studio and you're like, you can't,
Where does one start?
where
and-
does one,
yeah.
where's one versus, so I was up against the wall, which was exactly the opposite of where I wanted to be and thought I would be. I'm more of like like when I go to Albany, I try to get 1, 2, or 3 because I like to be, that little wall thing that separates.
Yes.
I like to be on that.
You like to be on the other side of it.
Yeah,
That way you don't have to you can be separated from the other.
Exactly. It's just like more
treadmills.
antisocial.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
it is.
say Albany's my
is not the
favorite
point.
studio, just because of the fact that if I really want to go to the scene, if I time the workout right, it's right there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I
True.
shout out to
across
the
street.
scene.
Yeah.
Shout out.
It's a great spot.
It's right there.
Yeah, the Price Chopper too.
You
I
can go
pop in there,
get lunch right after you work
afterwards.
out. It's
Yeah.
easy.
And I feel bad. Nothing against Niskayuna. We haven't mentioned the studio.
Well, no,
Niskayuna.
Niskayuna's
Niskay?
great, and Graham's coffee.
Great. Grams. Shout
They-
out to Grams.
Listen, like they all have their
Niskay's
perks.
a little tight though too. I'd have to say.
Yeah, Listen, this is not paid for by OTF.
No, it's not.
Let me just say that. Okay.
They're getting a lot of pub here, aren't
work
they?
let me be here. And I said, this is a podcast I'm talking about Dancing with the Stars and my fitness and whatnot.
Yeah.
That is why I'm here. But also shout out OTF.
Yeah, I know the national
Definitely
marketing
shout out
OTF
to
is very
OTF.
focused on the studio dimensions.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I don't think they care what our
No.
feedback
No.
is based on that.
No.
Or the benchmarks for
They're
that
getting
matter.
on a
I don't think they're
Zoom
going to
right
change any
after
of that.
watching
Like,
this.
oh, Casey and Giuliana said there's too many benchmarks.
Yeah.
We need to change it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna.
I mean, just quickly while we're on the topic of OTF, it's just wild to me because you brought up your brother doing metabolic. And I obviously do a lot of metabolic now. And I used to do more Orange Theory than I do. But it still has been a great fitness journey, a fitness community on my fitness journey. But it's wild to me how people obsess over these workouts. Like even my own dentists who I had on this show were asking me about Orange Theory versus metabolic. And it's like, it's a completely different workout.
Yeah, and I see videos. I follow a lot of people on social media, and I think I follow a couple of the metabolic accounts. So I'll see their stories of what they're doing. And it just I can just tell from watching it that I prefer going to Orange Theory.
Yeah.
One of the things aesthetically is just the lights. The lights seem so bright and metabolic.
Yes, they do. Well, because they're not the orange.
Right. So that's just
Atmosphere.
it's little things like that. And also I've found this thing that I'm comfortable with and I'm not shopping around. So,
Yeah.
but I think my brother, the metabolic makes more sense for him, the kind of personality he has. I think,
I love the lighting of metabolic.
oh God, it's just so revealing. Don't look at me.
And is that true? Because I feel like in a lot of ways when you go to a gym, I feel like more so than men, women are self-conscious when they come into these studios. So when they come into OTF, even though you could still see everybody, just because the light is a little dimmed, I think they feel a little bit more relaxed. And when you go into a place where the women are relaxed, you're automatically going to be relaxed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
like
agree with
that
that.
really, I think that really helps. Like it would go to Crunch when I was out in Buffalo for a little while, and they had a whole section that the women could go into where the men couldn't go into. I've never seen that before.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, do men really just follow girls around in these places? I was like,
Yes.
they must if there's a section where they're doing that, which I found a little unusual. But it's there's something about the lights being a little dimmer that I think makes people more comfortable
It also
in there.
just gets me in the zone. I walk in and I'm the environment around me it's like the eye of the tiger starts playing in my head.
Yeah. Well, the best workouts.
Sometimes I like to say something and then see
That's what the reaction
you
is.
guys think I'm being serious or not. Anyway.
I think
See,
you
this
are
is-
serious.
this
Well,
is
I
the
think it is. I think it is in your head, and you're just saying that now that you realized how it came
you
out.
guys think
Hey,
I'm
I'm just
crazy or
joking.
something?
Well, now I think you watch Rocky 4 on a loop when you get home or to hype yourself up before you go to work in the morning.
And I drink a glass of 6 raw eggs.
Just doubt it.
And then I look in
love
the mirror
it.
and I go,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the
why
best
not?
workout
It's
is
the
the
real
one
me.
you're going to do. And so, whether you're doing OTF or metabolic, it's just good to be consistent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like that's the thing. You have to enjoy it. Or you
I feel like he tried to end this podcast a while ago.
he doesn't realize who he's dealing with there.
We've had a few endings, but that's okay.
It keeps ending and then it
we
keeps
keep
going for like
going.
10 minutes.
Yeah. No. Sorry, we have all the time in the world. Actually, before we do
I gotta
wrap
go to
up,
New
though,
York.
in all seriousness, we should really shout out my producer, Tyler. His wife, Denny, is
Tyler.
also one of the dance pros in the show. Tyler behind the camera. Yeah. Oh,
Tyler.
yeah. Yeah, we're very involved in this. But no, we've had a few endings, but that's okay. We keep we keep rolling.
Let's try again.
This has been awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you.
all.
No, it's just thank you so much for sitting down with me. We've had a lot of fun, and we could keep going, I guess, for a few hours.
I'm getting silly. I have to go.
Yeah.
Getting silly.
Well, before we get too much sillier,
Yeah.
Giuliana, Casey, thank you so much again for sitting down with me for this great conversation on being built different.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks.
great.
Thanks